If you've ever watched someone you care about stay in a situation that was clearly hurting them and wondered why, this is an attempt at a real answer. Not a simple one, and certainly not a judgmental one. And if you are that person, if you are the one who has stayed somewhere that has cost you something and you don't quite understand your own reasons, this is for you. Stay with me. What I'm going to describe is called trauma bonding. It is a physiological response to a specific pattern of behavior. Once we look at how the brain processes this cycle, the logic behind the choice to stay becomes visible. Many people assume the primary motivator is fear. While fear is often present, the reality is often more complex. In these relationships, the connection itself, through a specific neurological process, becomes the only available relief for the pain it causes. Leaving requires fighting a biological imperative. The cycle of abuse functions like a closed loop, engineering a dependency that can override our most basic self-preservation instincts. The trap relies on a mechanism behavioral scientists call intermittent reinforcement. In the mid-20th century, researcher B.F. Skinner demonstrated this with rats pressing levers for food on variable reward schedules. This graph compares habit formation. Predictable rewards create a slow, steady curve, but unpredictable, variable rewards create a sharply escalating jagged line, the signature of addiction. In relationships, unpredictable relief following harm floods primed distress circuits with dopamine, making the chemical hit immensely powerful. This is the same neurological loop that drives slot machine addiction. The brain becomes hooked on the sheer possibility of a win, keeping the person pulling the lever despite a continuous history of losses. Through this process, the brain is biologically rewired to seek safety and a neurochemical reward from the same source that inflicted the trauma. This biological rewiring plays out over a year in a repeating 4-quadrant loop. First, tension building, the exhausting labor of walking on eggshells. Then, the incident phase shatters the tension with overt harm. Immediately following is reconciliation, involving dangerous, genuine warmth and remorse. During this window, the perpetrator offers affection and care. To a depleted nervous system, this feels identical to the sweeping early days of the relationship. This creates the heartbreak at the center of the bond. Leaving feels like abandoning the best version of a partner, the version who only appears in the wake of harm. Over time, this repeating loop distorts reality. It convinces the brain the abuse was a rare anomaly, and the loving reconciliation is the true baseline. Not every difficult relationship is a trauma bond. To know if you or someone you care about is caught in this specific neurochemical trap, we look for distinct diagnostic markers. Internally, there is an intense preoccupation with the relationship, even when you are alone. There is also a sudden inability to clearly recall the severity of the harm once the calm period returns. Externally, you might feel relief only when comforted by the person who caused the pain. At the same time, you find yourself increasingly isolated from friends or family members who express concern. Growth Systems Daily doesn't make content about easy things. We make content about real things. If you're watching this for a reason, subscribe. We'll keep going deeper. There is a precise time frame immediately following an incident of harm, but before the reconciliation phase begins. We call this the window of clarity. Biologically, this represents a brief period where your brain can process the event as it actually happened, before the neurochemical relief of the reconciliation phase begins to blur the details. Use this brief window to write. Document the facts as they are. Write down what was done, what was said, and specifically what the pain actually felt like in the moment. Keep that writing somewhere safe. It is an anchor to the truth, designed to combat the brain's tendency to minimize the harm once the calm returns. Leaving depends on having access to your own reality long enough to make a decision that protects you. It is a matter of clarity, even more than a matter of simple strength. This video exists to help you find that access.